I'm Hamam Tozwa. I'm taking you for IT today, and we are continuing with revision. I welcome you all. That's Head, Untitled, Poppy, and yeah, you are welcome. Right, feel free to participate and enjoy the lesson. Right, we are still looking at computer systems and e-communications and its consolidation for what we have covered. And then just for your information, next week we'll be doing programming in Delphi. You will be continuing with programming next week. Right, we have about 6 questions, that is multiple choice, and if there is any part of the question that you do not understand, you are free to ask and then we can discuss it further. Right, so I have 2 questions that are similar, but you will see the answers, they are a bit different. It's only a matter of the concepts or vocabulary that is used in answering the questions. So the first one is a software bug is caused by, a software bug is caused by, right? There is A, is virus, and then B, which is triggered by a Trojan horse, right? And then C, there is a programming error, and then D, an installation error. And then I can see the answers there. There is one we saying A, and then the other one is saying C. That is, undoubtedly you are saying A, and then you are saying that's the answer is C. Right. Remember, a virus, it's a program. So it's a program that disrupts the normal working of the computer. And then triggered by a Trojan horse, we call this one computer Trojan. It's a type of malware, but not horse. The horse part now is referring to maybe the historical where the concept is derived from. So B is out of the question. And then C, a programming error, and then installation error. Right. If it's installation error, then you won't be able to run the program. Whereas programming error, it means there is something that is discovered maybe after the program has been compiled. And then this error needs to be corrected. So what the software owners do is they only sort out that part of the program. Like for instance, Windows, every now and then it has to be updated. These are like bugs that the system has that are being attended to, rather than to reinstall the whole system. So these are like patches. Just imagine if maybe you have, you can take a jean trousers, let's say it's torn, and then you take a patch and then you try to sew it to close that whatever way it's torn. Then that's exactly how it works with software, like operating system. So rather than to buy a new, maybe to reinstall the whole software, you can only, you are able using these, we call them updates, using these updates to sort out that programming problem that the whole system has. So it's the answer for one is C, which is a programming error. Right, then the same question, you will see, same question as it is, but there is a difference now in the way the options that you are given. Right, so instead of, okay, the answer there is, before I explain, what's the answer for question number 2? That's A. A, that's perfect. The answer is A. So you will see now it's only a matter of semantics, a matter of vocabulary. Programming and coding, it's the same thing. Programming, coding is the same thing, right? So then it says there is a new thing there, which is DN SQL injection. SQL is a language that is used to manipulate or to manage data in a database. So this in full is SQL query language. Structured query language. We can call this SQL. Then it's structured query language. So it's a language that is used. And when it comes to, you will see next year when you're in grade 11, you are going to be introduced to databases. And then grade 12, you are going to be working with SQL language. How you communicate, how your programs, the programs that you do in Delphi can communicate with a database management system. So we normally use Access. So how do you link an Access database with your program? So we will be using SQL language, which is structured query language, right? So the answer there, it's still the same as it's A, right? So if you revise past papers, you will see the same question will come with different options depending on the use of maybe the concepts that is being, or words that are being used. Right, we move on to question number 3. Connectors where you plug in the cables that connect your storage devices, right? All these are connectors, but now we are looking for the ones where you connect your storage devices. The answer there is, what's the answer? What's the answer there? Is it C? What else? Can we check again? Any other option? What's the answer there? Any option? Just to check. C. Anyone saying C? Okay, there is A, and then there is C. Right, let's check again. Connectors, remember all these are connectors, but now the catch I said is where you connect storage devices, right? Isn't C for memory? Okay, yeah, C is for memory, right? So this one, DIMM, dual inline memory module in full, dual inline memory module. This is for your RAM. This is the socket where you put RAM, right? Then A, this is zero insertion force in full, zero insertion force, right? So this is this type of connection, right? You only need, why it says zero insertion force, to connect a CPU. This is for a CPU, where you connect the CPU, right? To connect the CPU there are these pins. You don't have to press hard. That's why it says zero insertion force. You only open, there is a lever that you open, and then you simply put the CPU in there, then you press the lever, and then the CPU is logged in. So that's why it's zero insertion force. You don't have to press hard. So this is for CPUs, right? So which means A and C can't work for this question. What else? We are left with B and D. What's the answer there? Between B and D? D, okay, I'll come to D, right? D, now RJ45, if you remember, we spoke about 2 types of cabling that is used in networks, right? We spoke of the UTP, which is unshielded twisted pair, right? Now that one, the connector that is used there to connect these cables to the, we can say, to the network ports, are called RJ45. RJ45. So the only now option that we have left is B. Now SATA, right? Most hard drives or even the SSDs, they are connected using this type of cable. This is what is known as SATA cable, right? So this is for connecting hard drives. So that's B, that's the answer. So we explained all these four, right? Now, the fourth question, attempt from people using an email to try to convince someone to provide security related information is called. Now let's see, these four. What's the answer? Is it A? How many says it's A? Can I see another? Okay, A. This one, there are no questions, more questions because we have been dealing with this one for maybe yesterday also there was a question to do with this same situation. Right, now number 5, this technology automates the configuration process of a device before it can be used, right? This one, we spoke about it as well. What is it called? Let's see the options. Do we have A? Caching. It's a way usually in where data or information is held either in, we can say memory, virtual memory, or in RAM, right? And then hot swappable, this concept refers to the process where a device can be connected or removed from a computer while it's running, the same way you do memory sticks, right? On servers, you can do the same with hard drives. You can remove a hard drive or servers. Some servers, most of them, they work with more than one drive. So you can remove one and the server can continue to work. So that's hot swap, hot swap, right? It means you can remove or add the media while the computer is on, right? Then this one, it's out of the question. We don't have this concept, right? And then it's D. You said D, that's correct. Plug and play, right? Plug and play. If the drivers are not there, we have dealt with this one as well. If the drivers are not present in the operating system, then the computer prompts you to download from the internet or to install from the CD or DVD provided when you bought the hardware, right? So the answer is D. Right, which one of the following terms does not belong to others? Let's look at these ones. Which of these do you think does not belong with the others? And then you can just give an answer why, right? I can see there are 2 Ds, okay, that's D. And then I can see there is C. Why? Right? Why C? I can see there are 2 C's. Why C? There is D, I think, and then there is C. Why C and then why D? Symbian is no longer in use, okay? But it's a what? Okay, it's no longer in use, but let's see, D, okay? Oh, never mind, it's D. Right, so why D? Why D before I explain? If I have to explain, let's see, why D? I am waiting for the answer. Right, so while the answer is coming, right? I'm checking why D. Okay, right. A is Android for mobile devices, operating system, and then same as B, operating system for a mobile device. and then C also, but even though they are no longer in use, but still it's an operating system for a mobile device. And then the answer there, Linux, is for PC, the others are for mobile. That's the answer there. I mean, that's the reason why the answer is D, right? That's correct. So the answer is D because D is for PC, while the others are for mobile devices. That's good. Right. Then this question, you have decided to buy the following laptop for your startup web designing business. Now, you need to study the specifications of the laptop that you are given, and then you need to answer the questions. This is based on a past exam paper. That's why you see there's 2.1. And then it says, use the laptop specifications. So these ones, we call them specifications, right? To answer the following questions. So we have about 3 questions that we are going to use this same diagram that we are given. Identify the CPU manufacturer. The CPU manufacturer. Can I see the answer there? Or Intel. Good. Right. So this is the CPU, which is 5th generation Intel Core, and then it's i3. So Intel is the what? The manufacturer. Right. Then let's see. So that's where the answer is. That's Intel. And then the second question, what is the speed of the CPU? What's the speed of the CPU? Right, you need to look at the advert. That's 2 gigahertz. Anyone else? 2.00, that's the same, 2 gigahertz. Anyone else? Right, so it's 2 gigahertz. And then, right, when you write the answer there, G has to be G and H, G for giga, and then HZ for hertz, which is capital letter H. So you need to write it as is. That is capital letter G, H, and then Z. Now, 2 gigahertz, what is it? What does that mean? What other word can we use? The concept can we use instead of speed? Remember, speed is measured. Now, if we are dealing with speed, we measure it in, maybe we can say the SI units for speed is meters per second. That is speed or velocity. But now when it comes to computer, we normally say speed, but that's not the correct way of describing this feature of the computer. Hertz. What is measured in hertz? What physical concept or is measured in hertz? I think, what is it? Because instructions per second, you are almost, that is trying to explain. But what is measured, if you think of science, what is measured in hertz, right? Like, in fact, when you are tuning in the radio, the stations, if you check there, it's hertz. Frequency, that's it. Frequency is measured in hertz. So this is the what we call the speed. It's the frequency. Now, how do you explain this now? This is the number of, we can say, iterations or processing that the computer does per second. Or we can say number of cycles per second. In simple words, number of cycles per second. A CPU has 4 cycles. You are going to deal with that more in grade 11. There are 4 steps. So it's the number of those steps that take place per second. That's what we refer to as frequency, which is measured in gigahertz. So the more the frequency, the more we can say the higher the processing power or the performance of the computer, right? So this is 2 gigahertz, which is the frequency, right? But in exams, obviously, you will see they keep on referring this to as speed. It's referred to as speed, but in actual fact, it's frequency, right? Then identify another processor that you can find in a computer system. This one, the question does not say it's part of this, but it says another processor that you can find in a computer system, and then explain how this processor works with the main CPU, right? What other processor can you have? Exactly, GPU. This one, it compensates the RAM in terms of, because most GPUs, they come also with RAM. So instead of the monitor, the graphics, to use the main RAM, which is the one, let's say the 4 gig, the computer will use the one that is allocated to the GPU first. Once, maybe if that is not enough, then it can use the main RAM that we have. So it's GPU, right? So this processor processes graphics and videos, the graphic processing unit. Right, one of the categories of system software is an operating system, and an OS is very important for the computer system to function, right? Then there are many operating systems on the market, right? This is based on the paper 2 of 2019, right? Which operating system would you associate with the following logos, right? Which operating system do we associate with this one? Android, perfect. Then what about this one? Linux, any other idea? Is it Linux? Okay, perfect, that's Linux. And we move on to the second question. Name the operating system found on devices such as iPhones, iPod, and then iPad. iOS. Any other? That's iOS. No arguments. And then okay, this one is one word answer. The composing, sending, and receiving of messages electronically over a network, including the internet. What do we call it? That's called email, in full electronic mail. Okay, that's fine. And let's see, people are no longer traveling distances to get and distribute information, right? Thanks to the availability of advanced networking techniques. Define the concept communication medium or channel. Can I see? You can just social media, not this one. Now remember, we are defining communication medium or channel. What do you think it is? In simple words, methods people use to communicate. Methods. Yeah, we can take methods, but let's try again. Let's see. Right, check there is channel, medium, or channel. What, how can we, platform for people to communicate electronically, not platform. Let's see again. Just to think of the word channel. What other words can we use for channel? channel. We're almost there. Let's see. A channel, right? Okay, so this one, let's, okay. So this one refers to a path or a way. So I'm saying concentrate on the word channel, a path or a way which carries or transports signals from the sending device to the receiving device in a network. So when we deal with this, when we talk of a communication channel, we are referring to the way or the path that carries or transports the signal. So the mediums that we use now, we go back to the cables. You can use cables, the UTP, the fiber optic, or it's wireless. That is the way or path, right? Name the two broad categories of communication channels. Now, remember from the past question, so communication ways or paths of connecting equipment in a network, I mean in a computer network. What are they? Can we name them? We have two types, wireless and wired. Perfect. So with wired, that's where we have UTP, and we only have two, UTP and what is the other one? For wired, we have UTP and what else? And fiber optic. Perfect. And then the difference between the two, while we are there, so that you understand better, what's the difference between the two? How is data transmitted in fiber optic and how is it transmitted in a wired medium? I mean in a UTP. So we have UTP and fiber optic. What's the difference in terms of how data is transmitted in the two? It helps us to understand when we deal with the disadvantages of, for instance, UTP. So fiber sends signals using light. Perfect, that's correct. What about the other one? That's why with this one, there is not much interference when we are dealing with fiber. And UTP uses electrical impulses. That's perfect, right? So that's why sometimes you have now disadvantages. We are going to have a question where we deal with the disadvantages of UTP, right? And then, okay, so we have wired, or we can say cabled, and then wireless, right? The next question, list and describe 3 weaknesses of UTP cables. So either you use this word weaknesses or disadvantages. So in exams, this is a past exam question that is a November paper. They used weaknesses rather than advantages. It's the same thing. So let's see, rather than disadvantage. Let's see what 3 disadvantages or weaknesses can you think of UTP? Load shedding if there is no electricity. Let's see again. Let's try again. Let's see. What else? UTP. I think when we spoke about this one, I almost mentioned one of the disadvantages when we spoke about this part. What else? Remember, UTP also, you can think of the maximum, maybe we can say recommended distance that you can connect two devices, right? They have a low maximum range, yeah, okay? And specifically it's 100 meters. recommended maximum is 100 meters. After 100 meters, you end up getting, we can say, poor signals on the receiving computer, right? Impulses, what else? What else? The wires might not transfer all the electric. Okay, that one is called attenuation. What we are trying to explain there, it's called attenuation, right? There is loss of data, right? What else? So attenuation, that's what we have explained there. And then what else? Might be slower. Yeah, still it's part of the, it's still the same, it's not very secure. Okay, this one, it's not secure. Now we risk, there is what we call cross talk, which refers to, like for instance, someone, or there is another word that is called eavesdropping, right? What happens is a person might steal data, can simply go to the wires, can cut and then connect a device there without the other, like people on the network noticing that there is another person who is stealing their data. So that's to do with security, right? So, okay, and then the other one that is, let's see, EI, which is electromagnetic interference, right? Okay, that's right. So we have, you can have any of these three. So we have eavesdropping, makes it possible for someone to detect a signal on a cable without piercing the cable to gain access to the data, right? So it's to do with security. Then number two, there is EMI, which is electronic signal that interferes with normal network transmission, right? Then crosstalk refers to magnetic fields in two wires that are close to one another and then can interfere with transmission. And then lastly, attenuation, which, okay, refers to the loss of signal strength over a distance. So any of these three. So these are, if you have noticed, we have the previous videos. There is a table that I think I explained, which we have, even if you check on the presentations, which has the disadvantages of UTP as compared to fiber optic. So you will get all this from that slide. Right, then briefly explain two roles performed by a NIC in a network. NIC, what are we talking about? NIC? What is NIC? Network Interface Controller, perfect. So roles is functions. What are the functions? So either two functions or two roles performed by a network interface controller. What are the roles? Remember, when you are thinking of the roles, okay, this one we can discuss it. Okay, it's connecting a PC to a network. Okay, it's correct. But what does it? There is a okay connecting, and what happens now? Now think of the data in the computer, and how, or is it the same as the one that is in the medium, that is the wires, right? Controls which devices can connect to network and not. Now, in terms of data, what happens to the data? What does it do to the data that we have in the computer, and then as compared to the one, the way it's sent in the cables, or maybe it's wireless? What does it do to that data? Remember, there is a difference between digital in the computer and then earlier on we said either it's wireless, okay, you said light that is in fiber optic, and then electrical impulses in, so it converts, perfect, it converts, that's the word that I wanted. So it does convert. The other word that is used is encode. So that data, remember, the computer is digital, but the wires, it's either electrical or light. So it converts or encodes that digital data in a format that can be transported over the wires or wirelessly, right? And then vice versa. When data comes from the wires, it decodes, right? That is the opposite of encode. So you will see when it's sending, it encodes, but when it receives, it decodes, right? So that's the role of the NIC, to encode or to decode data between two or more computers. Right. The 802.11 indicates that NIC is for a wired network. Is this statement true or false? Is it true? Is it false? 802.11. This specification, just to think where you have seen it, mostly it's on when you are dealing with Wi-Fi on the routers or Bluetooth. That's where you see this specification. So it's not for wired networks. It's for wireless networks, right? It's for wireless networks, which means this statement is false, right? It's a specification associated with wireless devices. Right. Then briefly explain the concept VoIP. We have dealt with this one a lot, right? So this one, we can just move forward. This one is a protocol that allows telephone or voice calls to be made over the internet or over the LAN, right? And two advantages of using VoIP software. Can we have two advantages there? What are the advantages? Any two advantages of using VoIP software? It's not of using VoIP, but of using VoIP software. Let's say, do you pay for the software? You can speak to the person, yes, you can, but do you pay for the software? As it's free, exactly. And then what else can you do with this software besides voice calls? What else can you do besides voice calls? You can do video calls, and what else? Okay, what else can you send, maybe transfer using this software? You can transfer files, right? So it allows you to transfer files as well as make, like what you said, the video calls. Right. This one gives two reasons why you need a network. This one, it's easy. This one we can discuss, right? To share resources. We did a little bit of this one, I think yesterday as well. And then to share data, to communicate, and for entertainment, for leisure. Right, and then the disadvantages, trying to hurry a little bit. the disadvantages of having a network, then we have cabling, can be expensive, and then viruses, remember they spread fast. And okay, then we have, if the file server or the server breaks down, then you won't be able to access the files there or applications. And then also managing a large network is complicated and requires expertise. That's why you need network administrators. And then these people, they are experts in managing computers. Right, and then discuss 2 reasons why one would prefer a wired network instead of a wireless network. Just any 2 that you can think of? Any 2 that you can think of? Example, we have faster speeds. If it's wired, it's faster than wireless. What else? Okay, it's reliable and more secure, right? We are almost there. And then what does P in HTTP and HTTPS stand for? P. What does P stand for? Protocol. Perfect. That's a standard, a set of rules for encoding and decoding data. Right. Then the difference between the 2, we discussed it, this one, I'm sure, as well, the previous lesson, where this one is secure and then the other one not secure. Right. That brings us to the end of today's lesson. And next week, as I said, you will be dealing with programming. That is, you are going back to practical. And I think you might be having a new teacher with you. So it has been nice teaching you. And I was happy with the way you grasped what we did learn during the past 2 weeks and how you were responding to the questions yesterday and today. It's been wonderful having you in my class. I wish you good luck as you continue with this e-learning journey.